Hi, I'm Azaria, and welcome back to my knitting corner. Okay, so I think this week I would like to just kind of focus on my 2025 knitting goals. So I have a few goals in mind for the year, a few things I want to tackle, primarily regarding what new skills I want to develop, which skills I want to improve upon more, and just kind of what things that I have in mind for myself within the fiber arts community. So I'm really excited to talk about everything a little more and just kind of give just some explanations on what my plans are. And I do want to preface this by saying that I am not holding myself to these plans strictly. I think that these are goals that I have in mind, things I want to accomplish, but it's also okay if I don't get to them. I think that the most important part of this hobby is me just having fun. I think that putting unnecessary expectations on myself to maybe get through a bunch of knits this year is not sustainable for me. I know the frequency in which I knit. I'm hoping to get through like 6 knit projects this year, but also we shall see. Maybe I get through more, maybe I get through less, but regardless, I am really going to enjoy my time on this journey, and that is most important. So I have my journal. I also have my tablet with like my Ravelry on it, just to keep track of, what these projects are, and what I am basically going through. So yes, in terms of the projects, I guess, in terms of the projects, they are in relation to the specific skills and things like that I'm working to develop. So that is like one thing in mind. So the projects themselves could change for sure if I come across something that I'd rather make instead. But I do want to at least have something within the scope of these specific goals. So, first goal that I have in mind is cables. Okay, so I started cables last year and I started them with the Arcuate vest. And it was a nice cropped vest. It was worked bottom up, which was cool. I especially liked it being worked bottom up because I got to get used to um, doing a cable chart in the round and having that repetitive motion before then going into the shaping of the body and, purl side, knit side. So it was nice to work that in that way, especially as a beginner. So I would say that if you are a beginner knitter, I wouldn't consider myself a beginner knitter anymore. But if you are new to cables, I would suggest the Arcuate vest if you like that style for sure. But I would suggest it's a nice cable design with like, I think it's like a 3x6 cable design or a 6x6 cable design, but like there are, a few rows of just knit stitch uh, in conjunction with a few rows of cables. Um, so yes, it is like that is basically the chart, I believe. But it was nice. It was an easy to follow chart as well. And I would definitely suggest it. But after doing that and after getting myself into cables with that last year and very much the tail end of last year, I then want to move on to an actual full on cable sweater. So I have two designs in mind that I think, or two patterns in mind that I think would be really fun to use for this. And the first pattern is sweater number 29 by My Favorite Things. I love this pattern. I really like it. It's a saddle shoulder design. It is beautiful. It's all over cables, cables on the sleeves, cables all over the body. Like it is so nice, and it does look like just challenging enough for me that I think it pushes me with the cable work. But it's also giving me something fun, something engaging. and something, I think very much within my ability to do while also still being challenged. I really like the folded collar, or at least that's what it looks like. It looks like it's a folded collar. And then it also looks like there is this like one by one twisted rib, which I did learn how to do as well with the arcuate vest. So I think that this pattern will be a really nice like transition from the arcuate vest into a full on body of cable work. I cannot wait for this. And I'm trying to think of the color that I want to do. And I'm thinking a nice bold green would look good with this, like maybe like a mossy green. But I feel like a nice green would be really good with this sweater. So, and in terms of the yarn, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what I'll use until I get there. So that is one thing about me. Like once I get to the project, that's when I know what I'm going to use. That's when I know what I'm going to do. So yeah. Okay, so the next project that I want to discuss is, or the next pattern that I want to discuss is the Tulip Loop sweater by Other Loops. That sweater is nice. I love the Tulip Loop sweater, and I like the how different the cables look on that one. So I'm not even sure how I would go about doing them, um, but it just looks so good. And I really also love the back of that sweater as well. I just feel like the way that it kind of triangles in or funnels in on itself from the shoulders down, I just think it's so beautiful. The detailing of this sweater is just gorgeous. I think this will be a really nice sweater, as well as like being something that I would I would consider maybe a step up of challenge from the like I think it's a step up in challenge from the sweater number 29. And I say that because the pattern is a bit more, it's different. Whereas I feel like with sweater number 29, like I'll get into a rhythm for sure with it. It looks like it's the same like cable size all the way up. It doesn't look like it's very different. Um, and not in a negative way or anything like that, but I feel like I'll definitely get into a nice smooth routine with it. Whereas I think that the tulip loop sweater is going to challenge me a bit more. I really do. I think I'll really have to lean on that cable chart a bit for it. So yeah, I think it would definitely challenge me a bit more. Um, Definitely challenge my focus a bit more. But I do think that that one is going to be such a nice sweater to own. It is so gorgeous. The tulip loop sweater also looks like it has that nice folded collar design. I am realizing though that the tulip loop sweater, it looks like has the twisted ribbing, not the sweater number 29. The sweater number 29 just has a regular one by one rib. But I do think that I'm seeing twisted rib on the tulip loops. And yeah, it is just, it's going to do me really well. Like once that sweater, honestly, whenever I finish both of those sweaters, because I feel like even if I get to like one or the other this year, um, I will make another one. Like there will like if I just get to maybe the tulip loops, but not sweater number 29, at some point I would make sweater number 29 down the line. Either way, once these sweaters are complete and in my wardrobe, they will be well loved. They very much will be well loved. I think that that is definitely an exciting bit for me. And then for the tulip loop sweater, I think that I would do it in the lavender. I feel like like a nice soft lavender would look really good with the tulip loop sweater. But again, I don't really know what yarn I'll use until I get to the project, but this is just what I have in mind, I think. I'll probably still stick with that color or some type of purple color, but the type of yarn, which brand, that I really don't know. Now I won't know until I get there. Okay, so the next project type for me is color work. So I am very excited to start color work this year. I did dabble in color work with the Olga jacket last year, although I'm also not done with the Olga jacket, so that's neither here nor there. But the Olga jacket is one that I started doing some color work with that like stripe design. Um, but I do want to do different types of color work, if that makes sense. So first on my color work list is the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things. And that Norma sweater, I really like. I love it a lot, honestly. I like how high that mock turtleneck sits. I love a turtleneck, so honestly, I want it to be quite high on me as well. I just love how it looks. I also really like the color of the Norma sweater. It looks like maybe some type of oat or brown, like some type of brown, lighter brown, darker beige. I really like that base color mixed in with the um red and blue like color work pattern there. I think that it's so nice, honestly. So I feel like I would definitely stick with that color. I at least want that color, and then whenever I make it again, depending on how much I like the pattern, of course, I would, try some different colors. But I do want to stick with that original color. It looks like for the pattern. I just think it's so nice. It's so lovely. And then I'm also interested in seeing what it's like uh, to have to knit both continental and English style. I can do continental, but my preference is English. Like that is my main mode of knitting. That is what I prefer. um, so I feel like it'll be interesting to then challenge myself to do two different types of knitting on a single pattern together, like at the same time. I am like so envious of the knitters out there who can do both. I think that that is cool. Like when I see that when folks are doing color work. So yeah, I'm excited to try that out for myself and see what it's like. But the normal sweater, definitely a big one on my list. I just really like the design. I think it drapes really nicely too. So I can't wait to figure out the yarn for it. Um, yeah, in general, great sweater. Nice ribbing. I think it's raglan, if I'm not mistaken. I know that there's another pattern for the Norma sweater that's a drop shoulder. But I think I'd want to do the raglan. I've never made a raglan, so I do drop shoulder, but I haven't done raglan. So that'll be a nice one to get into and learn a different way of constructing. Um, I think same goes with the cables. Learning saddle shoulder, haven't done it. The tulip loops is, if I'm not mistaken, something of a drop shoulder. At least I think that's the basis of the construction. But for the sweater number 29, that is a saddle shoulder, and then of course a Norma sweater, a raglan. So I am really excited to see what those turn. Look, we'll see how those turn out. Never done a raglan. Really excited to see how to construct it, what goes into it. Um, I think that'll be a fun one for sure. And then the other color work pattern that I have on here is the Unicorn Tapestry Cardigan by Tamara Jordan. This cardigan is so beautiful. The pattern creator also like explains it or describes it as like an heirloom cardigan, and I think that that is truly the perfect description for this. Like this is something that you get passed down to you from like your great 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 like grandma, or this is like something you'd find at an estate sale. I just think that it is so beautiful. I love the tapestry design. I think that the artist, like Tamara did such a good job with designing this. I really liked watching their video of them explaining how they came to designing this and what went into it. I remember seeing it as a short. I don't know if they have a full length video, but I do remember seeing it as a YouTube short. And it's so nice. It is such a nice sweater. Beautiful cardigan. It will be interesting to knit knit colorwork flat. I think that that is something that is interesting about this design. So I may start with the Norma sweater. Like, I think the Norma sweater would probably be up for sure on my list. I do really want to get to the unicorn tapestry cardigan this year as well, most likely later in the year. But I think kicking off color work with the Norma sweater would be a nice beginner transition for me into color work, and then the unicorn the unicorn tapestry cardigan just challenging me further. So yes, I think that I do want to hit those two. I'm thirsty to have that unicorn tapestry cardigan in my wardrobe. I think that is just going to be so nice. It's so beautiful. Such a fun design. I also like that some folks like use their like color work swatch as pockets. I think that that's a genius idea. I also like how I've seen some like color work like design on the like front breast of the cardigan. I think that it's so nice. And I feel like this cardigan will look really good with some brass buttons. Um, so I have a vision. I don't know what colors I would use again. I have no idea what colors I would use. That is something though for me to tackle sooner rather than later, because I do have a trip planned for Scotland in spring with my friends. And one of my goals for that trip is to visit different yarn stores in Scotland, or in the part of Scotland that we'll be in, and to pick up a sweater's quantity worth of yarn. And I think that I would like to pick up a sweater's quantity of yarn for the unicorn tapestry cardigan. Something about having that sweater in its completion and being able to say that I bought this yarn in Scotland, from like some local yarn makers. I just think that that would do something to my brain chemistry. And so I need it. So I definitely will have to plan for the type of yarn that I want, or the type of yarn that fits best with the pattern, and then what colors I'd like to do. So figuring out those things will be a big one. Planning that out will be a must before I go. So I'll have that planned out first, but I'll most likely get to the Norma sweater before I get to the unicorn tapestry cardigan. So that yarn will most likely just be sitting in my home until I can finally put it on my needles. That is as far as I think I'll ever get to like having a yarn stash. Um, and I'm not a yarn stash person. Like, I need to know the project. I need to be like at least a week away from casting on the project. Like before I like basically invest in the yarn and everything. So that's typically how I go about my patterns or my projects. So yes, that is the unicorn. The unicorn tapestry cardigan is again the closest I will get to having a yarn stash, because I just won't get to that probably until maybe like casting it on in fall or something. Okay, and then my honorable mention here would have to be the Wave cardigan by Spectacle Strike. And I say it's an honorable mention just because I'm not sure I'll get to it. I do love the pattern though. I love how it looks. I think it's such a cool design, just a fun color work design. And I was actually inspired to add it to this list because of one of my mutuals on TikTok. Her name is Jane Francis on TikTok, and I'll like link her account here too, or just like show her at in the description. But I just she did a really good job with hers. Like it just is this blue and orange like wave sweater, and it just looks so good. And I just remember seeing like one of her videos on my like FYP and was just like, wow, that's a nice design. I think I need that design. I was like, okay, this will definitely have to be added to my my like pattern list at some point. I think because it's color work, I'm just like, oh, let me mention it here because it is something that I want to get to. I just don't think it's something that I'll get to this year. But it is so nice. And seeing Jane Francis's like video just showing like her completed wave sweater, I was just like, yeah, this is the one. This is the one to add to the list for sure. And I just think that orange and blue is such a they're just two fun colors to like put together, and I just thought it was so cute what they did with it. So yes, you should definitely check out her TikToks. I think that her videos about her patterns and things like that are cute. She just did something on her plans for 2025 too with knitting as well. So yes, check her out. Um, but yes, the wave sweater is definitely on the list. Not sure if I'll get to it this year, but I do really like it. I do think it's a really cute design that I feel like will happen for me at some point. Um, so yeah. Next on my list of skills are socks. I really want to be a sock girly. I want to be a sock girly bad. I love seeing people knit socks. I think it's just so cute. But I also feel like after watching the Crazy Sock Ladies how to knit sock video on 9-inch circulars, I was like, okay, this is doable. And I have a set of Chia Goose shorties too. I have the blue and the red. If you know the price, you know. But I have them both, and I feel like, okay, this is very much doable. And I bought them because of sleeves. I was working on the clematis sweater, and I was doing the sleeves, and I was trying it with the I think leaky shorties that I had. I just have like a pair, a single pair that I bought at one of my favorite like fiber art stores in Chicago. Um, and I couldn't do anything. Like it was um like even with like a shorter cable, it just like was too long. Um, like the needle itself, I think, was too long. So it just wasn't working for me in the round. So then I was like, okay, well, I do want to make more sweaters. I'm gonna have to tackle sleeves. Let me try Magic Loop. I tried Magic Loop. That was not the move. I managed to get the like short row shaping of the shoulder done, but once I was trying to get into a flow in the rounds, it wasn't working. And for me as a knitter, I need to be able to get into a flow to really enjoy the project. Because I couldn't do that, I was too finicky. I was just like, no. So I invested in the Chigu shorties because I was like, I will do this. And I decided to get both the blue and the red because I did see the Crazy Sock Ladies video. And I was like, ooh, I would love to make socks. I really want to add that to my list. Um, so I was just like, okay, let's just do it. Let's make this investment because I do it once, don't have to do it again. And I have been loving the shorties on the clematis sleeve, so I can only imagine how nice and sleek it'll be knitting up socks. So for socks, I think that my go-to vanilla pattern would be the Crazy Sock Ladies pattern. I'm watching her do it on YouTube. I was just like, yes, this is doable for me. Even with that little bit of magic loop, I can suffer for the greater good of making a sock. It's okay. um, but I also really love, I don't know if you guys follow her, but if you don't, you should. but the Hobby Habitat, her videos are so fun. I love them. She's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I swear to you, I will be making a like my favorite YouTubers video because I just have so many that I love to follow. Um, and she is one of them. I actually saw her content on TikTok, and then once the TikTok ban was like happening, whatever that ridiculousness was, um, I like started to do I like ended up finding her on YouTube, and so that was just nice. So love her content down. She is great, so lively, but she also makes socks and they always look so good. And one of the socks that she made was actually a design. So the soft ruffle sock by Allison Schmidt. The soft ruffle sock looks so good. I love, she was doing this like I think self-striping greenish color. Um the Hobby Habitat was on her page, and I was just like, oh, that looks so good. I really want a ruffle sock. Like I miss ruffle socks. So I was just like, okay, let me look into this pattern. So I definitely will be making a vanilla sock on its own by the Crazy Sock Lady, but I will also be making a vanilla sock mix with the soft with the soft ruffle sock pattern. I think that those two will look really good, and I actually already have the colors planned out in the yarn because that is actually on its way. So I will be using the Cascade Heritage yarn, which is a I forgot what type of wool, but it's a wool and nylon blend. So I'm doing that in the color latte. The color latte will be my basic vanilla socks, but then I also grabbed the sock or the same yarn in the color denim. And that one I will be using for the soft ruffle sock pattern. Those two patterns I'm just really excited to get to. I think it's going to look really good. I can't wait. It's definitely going to be a beautiful pattern. I think that the latte socks will be just like a nice, cute little basic sock to have, but those soft ruffles, and I'm thinking of them with the like Doc Marten slides that I really want so bad. Definitely will be getting them in the spring, but I think that the like denim sock ruffles with those shoes, just gonna look so good, so good. So yes, that is my sock goal for this year. And I'm also doing a workshop with some of my friends. Some of my friends are interested in learning how to knit, and they want to learn how to make socks. So I was just like, I had shared in our group chat, like, oh, there's a sock workshop happening. It costs, but you know, if you are interested in making socks, you can, I personally feel like you can make them off of this video alone. Just learn how to knit from videos, of course. But also, if you just know how to do stockinette and one by one rib, you can figure out how to make socks. And here is a video that like walks you through it as well. And there's a pattern, a written pattern to accompany it. And they were just like, how about you do a workshop for us? And I was like, okay. Why not? I really wanted to learn how to make socks. I think we could learn together, of course. I will start off my socks, so I'm hoping that I get through at least one of the socks in the color, one of the plain socks in the color latte. I hope I can get through that first before then doing the workshop with my friends, so that I at least have constructed a sock before I try to help teach others how to do a sock. But yes, I that is just a funny side tangent. But I am really excited about this. I think socks are going to be a fun one. I think once I make that first one, that's how I'll know, like, okay, if socks for sure for me or are they not? I'm hoping they're for sure for me, but I'm also scared because I just know how, if it's just a quick pad, like if it's quick, it's easy to work up, I fly through it and it's fun, I'm gonna own a lot of hand knit socks. Um, but I can also make other people's socks too. So I think that's the other cool thing too. Socks are a nice, hand knit socks are a nice gift, I think. Okay. So those were the like actual knitting goals I have this year. But another goal that I want to mention that is not me actually physically knitting is my goals for solo traveling this year. I am for sure going to do some solo traveling this year. And I wanted, that's part of my like overall 2025 goals, is solo traveling. And I am really excited to do it primarily because I really want to go to some actual like, I really want to go to actual like fiber arts festivals around the country. So I think that that'll just be like my step into solo traveling. I am really excited about it. I really wanted to get, I've always wanted to solo travel, but like last year, and then starting up this year too, like my partner, like they solo travel, and I get quite jealous when I'm just like, oh my God, you're leaving by yourself again. But I think it's so cool that they do that. And so that was quite inspiring for me to just be like, you know what, I've been wanting to do this. Like, let me just do it. Let me plan something. So my goals are to do at least 2 solo travel trips, and those being to 2 different like fiber arts festivals, whether that's like yarn crawls in a different city or like some type of like actual festival held some in a singular location. Um, I'm just really excited to do that. I know that one of them would for sure be New York City because I also want to meet the creators, Brown Skin Girls. I think that their TikToks are so good. I love their videos. I love the community that they're building within New York City, and I would just love to just visit them. Hopefully, I can be out there during a time where they're having one of their like knit nights, so that I can join for that. Meet other fiber artists, meet other knitters in New York, and I think that that would be really cool. And then the next place, I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think that I will definitely bring, I will definitely vlog those experiences because I think that they just seem so exciting to me. I just love the idea of doing a solo trip, but also I've been really wanting to do something solo trippy, and in relation to fiber arts and knitting. So I think that that is like the last goal that I want to touch on for my 2025 knitting plans this year. So yeah, these are my plans. Um, cables, color work, socks, solo traveling. I think that these are all really great things for me to hit on this year. I'll see how much I can get done, see what things I hit, what things I don't, what things roll over to 2026. Who knows? But I think that these are great plans, and I feel like they're really going to push me some more as a knitter. Um, and I can't wait. I feel like my knitting journey has been really exciting for me, really fun, especially in relation to like creating content as well. I do need to make more TikTok content, and I will very much be more consistent with YouTube content. I think like, every other week is kind of the flow that I want to get into with dropping videos. If it's a once a week, if it ends up being once a week, it ends up being once a week. I think that's no harm in that. But I think every other week is a good, like, I think base to hold myself to. Um, but I definitely want to get more into making this content just because I've seen really nice, engaging comments on my videos. I feel like that has been nice. And then also seeing some of my favorite creators like leaving comments like the Hobby Habitat and Balanskeen. I just feel like these are creators that I have been growing to love even more, especially as I just get into more knitters on YouTube. Um, I just feel like there's a great community out there that I really want to be involved in. Um, really wanting to meet more knitters, especially Black knitters, queer knitters. I just feel like the knitting community in itself is a really cool, really diverse group, and I want to be a part of it even more. So, yes. Thank you for stopping by and watching my video. If you have made it to this point in the video, I would love it if you can just leave a comment about what some of your 2025 knitting plans are. What are some goals that you have for yourself? Knitting, crochet, embroidery, like we accept all fiber artists over here. I primarily do knitting, but I do want to get into crochet. Maybe this year, probably not this year, but I think for sure next year I will get into some crochet patterns that I have on my list as well. But yes, so leave a comment on some things that you're getting into, some plans that you have, and I hope to see you in the next one.